the Big Tent, Toastmasters speaking tips from a split personality job at that
The Big Tent. You hear that expression from time to time, usually in relation to parties, organizations, political parties. They'll take anyone within their tent who votes for them or gives them money. Well, Toastmasters is a lot like a big tent. They'll take under the tent and make a better speaker of those who are too cool for school, don't quite understand yet the value of good public speaking. They'll take those who understand the value of public speaking but don't yet understand how to prepare and deliver a speech. And they'll take and make a better public speaker of those who have experienced public speaking but can always, always, always improve on those skills. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, friends, and most welcome guests. I've been asked as part of the address today to first touch on the importance of public speaking. And presumably, most everyone in this room, including the little people in this room, know the importance of public speaking. That's why we're here Saturday at 8:30 on a crisp morning when other people are not. But for those who are still on the fence about the issue, let me state the obvious. Public speaking is a skill that separates the leaders from the followers. It's the skill that defines people in all areas of life: government, business, law. And it makes things a lot more fun, too, a lot more interesting than just words on a page. When I was a young lawyer, I thought I could get by just by being a good writer. I mean, so much of litigation today is done on paper. But then I had the opportunity to see lawyers in the courtroom, the ones who dominated the courtroom and who were leaders of the bar. And the ones who dominated not only were good writers, and they weren't only just articulate, but when they stood up in a courtroom, they positively radiated their shining luminescence of the fervence of the belief and the justice of their case shone through the entire courtroom. And there was that sort of passion and confidence that helped them win. And that was because of public speaking skills. Now, for those who understand the value of public speaking, but don't yet understand quite how to put a speech together and make it all work, here are sort of my tips on how to do that. I'm sure there are 20 different ways that you'll get from this room, but these are the unique Toastmaster speaking tips on preparing a speech. First, what I like to do is when I finally come up with the subject of my speech is to brainstorm. Get all the points that seem relevant to the subject matter down on paper. And then, of course, organize. But don't just organize in any old fashion. Try to go with what the Greeks referred to, the great Greek orators of the time referred to as the rule of three. And for them, it wasn't a guideline, it was a rule of three. Try to organize your speech into three main points. And of course, you can have sub-points and sub-sub-points and sub-sub-sub-sub-points under your three main points. But there is something about the human mind being receptive to three main points that people tend to remember better than if you're just all over the place. And then after you've got it organized into 3 points, you have to, of course, prepare. And prepare means, for me, reviewing what you finally organized into your speech 3 to 4 to 5 times. Going through the page repeatedly, because then you're familiarizing yourself not only with the subject matter, but with the order of the subject matter and how you're going to address it. And when I do it, I don't write out word for word what I'm going to say. I can't work that way. And I don't think it's effective to try and remember each word that you're going to try and deliver when you stand up. That's defeating the purpose of what a speech is for. For me, the point is to remember the big points that you're going to drive home to your audience. And then practice. This is probably the most important part. Practice and practice out loud. That doesn't mean, as I've seen so many young lawyers do, just sort of murmuring to yourself on a page or sort of thinking out loud about how you might do it or lying on the couch thinking to yourself. No, it means getting up here and practice. Try to go from start to finish without stopping. No interruptions, no timeouts. Go from start to finish. And you're going to stumble, and that's part of the process of getting in your mind's eye how it's going to work. And then once you've practiced it, once you've become familiar with your subject matter and you're confident in it, you're ready to deliver. Now for the more experienced speakers, like so many people in this room, but for our guests, I've heard the common question is, how do I deal with nerves? How do you deal with nerves? I've had that question, I think, since I've ever gotten involved in trying to stand up before a jury or a judge. And I think the answer is, don't fight it. Use the nerves to your advantage. Turn it into your weapon, not your enemy. Because when you use that nervous energy, that's when you get the power to deliver, to stand up and deliver a message with confidence and passion. And as a footnote for dealing with nerves, I would add just quickly, 2 other ways are, first, of course, get used to speaking. Stand up in a meeting, talk in an elevator. The more you habituate, I think is the clinical term, and are used to speaking in front of a crowd, the more your body gets used to it. And otherwise, exercise. Exercise helps burn off a lot of nervous energy. Some of the great public speakers in the world, Tony Robbins, for example, is a triathlete. So when your body gets used to that sort of heightened heartbeat level, that you can adjust better for public speaking. And last, public speakers or experienced public speakers are often asked, how do you keep this all together? So many things to try and remember. You know, keep your head straight, elbow straight, address the ball. It's like golf. How can you possibly do all this? For me, before I get to speak up, I try to remember one thing. And I think it can be different for every person. Some people, some experienced speakers say, when I get up to speak, I just remind myself to have fun. And others say, oh, when I get up there, I just want to address my audience's needs. For me, when I get up and speak, my one thing that I try and remember, and again, I think it can be different for everyone, is passion and confidence. That's what makes the spoken word so much better than the written word, is you can emote and convey to your reader passion and confidence that you really believe in what you're saying. I hope this was helpful, and I enjoyed addressing you. Mr. Toastmaster.